भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः। ॐ शांति शांति शांति। प्रणाम टू यू भाई साहब, प्रणाम टू एवरीवन।
Namaste to everybody. We'll start with a podcast by Yogeshwar ji. I will request our Prakashan ji to introduce Yogeshwar ji for introduction.
Pranam to all and welcome to Shri Yogeshwar Kumar ji. He is my respected elder's brother also. A brief bio has been circulated about Shri Yogeshwar Kumar ji, but I will just tell how I have been associated with Yogeshwar Bhai Sahab and how I have seen his work over the last around 50 years. First time I saw him way back in 1996, around that time when I was studying in Gopeshwar, and there is a village nearby Gopeshwar where there was no electricity at all, and the villagers were protesting for electricity. Yogeshwar Kumar ji has passed out from the IIT that time, maybe 1 or 2 years back. He passed out and he came and he set up a small hydro unit there whereby villagers started getting electricity. All voluntary efforts. Everything was assembled by the villagers, made from the basic concepts, and that was the first journey which we saw that how hilly areas, particularly Himalayan region, can be provided with the energy services. Thereafter we grew in the different fields, and I saw that he was with the planning commission for a long period. His views were highly valued by the planning commission way back in 80s, 90s, and then for a long period, around 5-7 years, he was with the government of Meghalaya as a planning advisor. He advises many of his programs which he started in Meghalaya are still landmark, and people remember him fondly for these works. He undertook many activities, but last 15 years or so, he has been working on diversification of hydro energy for livelihood areas, particularly linking it with the wool, linking it with the cooking, or many more facets of the hydro he has done in a way. And there is an alternate hydro energy center at IIT Roorkee, and Shri Kumar ji has been a mentor as well as an advisor to that center, and he is a faculty also there. He teaches many ways, and personally speaking, I have always seen him as an icon to whom we look for the advice and guidance and to work in these areas. He has wide spectrum of areas he has worked. I'll just say that he is a great astrologer also of Indian astrology. That is what I thought I shall also share with you all, and we also look for him if at all somewhere we require some kind of advice for the personal life also. Bhai Sahab ko pranam, and I'm really grateful and my sincere gratitude to him for accepting the request, and you will certainly bring a perspective in this group's discussion, and your podcast will be in the Vasudha exhibition, which is in the Kanyakumari, a permanent exhibition whereby people visit, hundreds and thousands of people visit every day or in a month. So they will be getting an opportunity to see and listen to you as per your work. Generally, this total time is 1 hour, but 45 minutes is what we expect to speak, and thereafter 15 minutes for question answers. Bhai Sahab, pranam, and floor is yours.
Thank you, Prakash ji. Thank you also to this group for inviting me to give a talk, basically talking about my journey after I had graduated from IIT Delhi till now, and it actually brings a lot of hopes in spite of small problems one went through, and it was a learning all through, and now one is in a stage when one can implement with a lot of improvements in our projects, and one understands the community better, how one can go about developing rural areas, particularly in the Himalayan region. Actually, I was drawn to Himalayas by our family friend, there was one gentleman, Professor Virendra Kumar, who was a very creative and adventurous person. Just imagine in the 1960s, he had traveled to Burma and northern Burma and northeastern for areas to hunting for plants. He specialized in unraveling the the changes which the last ice age brought by pushing the flora downwards into the southern hemisphere. Just imagine the plants like Devdar and all that, they were not actually here. They were brought down from the north, including rhododendron, the famous rhododendron, and a lot of alpine flora that we have in the Himalayas. They were all pushed from Europe down to Indian subcontinent during Ice Age. He was actually studying the chromosomes, and he thought that chromosome will be able to provide answer. In those days, we had not gone to the gene level, but at the chromosome level. This gentleman had a problem. He says, I get all the plant material, collect it, and bring down to Delhi, and things will germinate, and we will lose a lot of things in that. And the plant material would get spoiled. He says, isn't it possible to actually work in the Valley of Flowers, place which they had worked out, their camping site? Then this was a challenge thrown to me, and I had just graduated. I thought it's a very creative exercise and also adventurous for me to have gone and work in that area. So we started working on fabricating our own setup in the Valley of Flowers, which had a small generation of about 2 kilowatts, only 2 kilowatts, and plus camping facility. Some kind of geodesic domes. I was also impressed by geodesic domes of Buckminster Fuller. So got some designs, and we had the bamboo frames. Actually, we carried bamboos and just fixed them there, and then covered with this fertilizer sheets. Actually, this Coromandel Fertilizer Corporation and Fertilizer Corporation of India donated us a lot of these. Empty bags which we could stitch together and make a huge dome for us to live and also to experiment. And now the question came about energy. What kind of energy source one should use? Photovoltaic was still in the starting space stage and was being used in the space applications, and it was very, very expensive. So one could never thought of photovoltaic, and wind energy was just creeping in. Windmills were known for grinding purpose and all that. In fact, we had some Australians moving around in Delhi at that time trying to sell their windmills, but none of them offered a wind generator actually. So we are we're quite working on basically trying to find out what could be the solution. So I hit upon an idea, and the idea was a water mill actually, a good old water mill, which has been in used for almost 500-600 years all over in the Himalayan region, right from Afghanistan to your Arunachal Pradesh. And we at one time we had about 100,000 water mills, which was just used for grinding floor and milling, other small milling purposes. They were not mechanized properly. Means the machine parts were very, very simple. They were just wooden and stone based parts which were used for making water mills. And very interestingly, there were a number of villagers who were trained in this, and they could go from village to village, install water mills or repair water mills. And this is how one could got inspired by this water mill, that it has been there for such a long time and is still being in use. So we used this water mill, improvised a little bit with the steel blades and all that, made it a small portable unit, and took it to our camping site and installed it. And this is how we got about 2 kilowatt of power. See that at that time it was very interesting, because Valley of Flowers, the place where we were camping, was about 15 kilometers from the last village head. And it was quite surprising for people that with simple technology one could actually generate electricity. And this caught almost like a wildfire, that every villager, all the villagers were very keen to have their own small power unit based on a water mill. And immediately close to Gopeshwar, from where Mr. Methani comes, and incidentally Sachidanand Bharti was also studying there. It's a time when I met both of them. And we had one gentleman from Dogri Kande village who took this initiative. He says he will raise some funds. I also raise some fund, and let's install a 5 kilowatt unit in the village. And to our support, there was a DC in the Chamoli district who said that I have a lot of things lying in my department and stores which I want to auction. One of them is generator, and there is a pipeline. I'll auction it. Why don't you come and buy? And this was a golden opportunity how we got the pipeline and a generator. Then we fabricated the turbine and installed in that village. And when I visited after some time, I was appalled to see there was so much of rush in the village. They had set up one function in the village celebrating, accessibility to electricity. There were a number of shops, and there were some other programs, and later on it was converted into a billing unit plus small power generation unit. So this was, starting from a water mill, we have reached to this stage. And after that, I did some more small mills, not actually power generators, but mills in Tehri district, and also small water mills here and there for improvement. And then I got a call from Government of Meghalaya to join there as a officer on special duty in the planning department, and also look after science and technology program. So, and there I got an opportunity to start science and technology department in the state, where we could take a lot of small energy programs also. I remember taking up cooking stove, because MNRE had come with this program on cooking stoves, and there was a problem in that state that they need a smoky actually cooking stove, because they need to smoke meat to preserve it. And it was small challenge, but I could find a lot of people who could do this work. A tinsmith, and then in Garo Hills, another district of the state, we had the potters, and potters could actually make designs of this, the casts, the chulas and pottery, and then also have a pottery flue, and this is how the program started. So, and also I took up 2 small micro hydro schemes in the village, and worked on the turbines. Basically the problem used to be there were no manufacturers, small scale manufacturer except Jyoti. But to get to Jyoti and have a small thing delivered from them was little difficult. So we started our own fabrication unit somewhere in Delhi, and we had Pelton wheels and done, and also cross flow turbines to start with, and we reached a reasonably good level of efficiency. And this is how we started installing them. I actually took the turbine material all the way from Delhi to Meghalaya to do that. And this was a realization that we don't have manufacturers, who could supply the material that you're looking for. Then control system used to be another problem. Then how do we have a control system made? And besides all this, there was another very serious problem. It was the Electricity Act, which prohibited actually generation and supply plus sale of electricity to any party. And in fact, I remember in Chamoli district when we were doing some program, one officer came from the department, maybe just trying to bully us. He says, "What are you doing? We're trying to generate electricity. How much are you going to generate? This much. Okay. It is all right for experimentation. But if you go bigger, then we'll have to take some action against you." This was the points from the electricity department. But the deputy commissioner, some of them, they were very keen that how come a population live without electricity? It's a basic right of people. Why is that there is so much of pressure on this? So the deputy commissioner on their own started with supporting small programs like that, and there came some other agencies like SIS Development Agency and some other you know embassies who could give you small grant. The Canadian embassy also gave small grants to set up a power stations like this. So this was experience here that we didn't have turbines, appropriate turbines, we didn't have control systems properly, and then came another problem. Well, is lighting is the end, or there has to be something more than this? So we got onto another platform, and I was lucky enough to get a small project from UNDP, where they made this principle that you'll have to actually find some livelihood using this renewable energy. So I came up with some proposal, and MNRE supported me. After I had left Meghalaya, actually, I started working in some of these in Uttarakhand, especially, to set up a small power station. I'll show you some small slide. Actually, this was a very interesting program that made me think. For sustainability, one has to think on a lot of other issues. The prime issue actually is, if you are unable to generate enough revenue, how can you sustain your power station? So when you start thinking of revenues, then you have to have some commercial items coming into the picture. So the milling could be one aspect where the villagers used to go to quite a distance for milling their grains, and sometimes milling oil, seeds, and paddy, and so many other things. And plus street lighting was also a very big problem where villager can contribute, and how could one actually get adequate remuneration from the villagers. See, villagers in the neighborhood were quite used to subsidize electricity. So running a power station, on your own was not highly remunerative because the costs were very high. You can't give subsidies. If you give subsidies, then you can't run your power station. So we tried to work, very hard on this. We set up water mills. We set up oil mill. We set up grinding unit. We set up rice dehusking unit. And plus we took up another program because there used to be a lot of wool in the mountain villages. So wool processing, local wool processing, plus making rugs out of wool is not by weaving and spinning. It's an unwoven material which is called felt. I'm sure you must be knowing about felt. Presently, a lot of felt comes from Jammu and Kashmir because they use felt, for putting on the beds or also on the floors, and some people put felt on the walls to keep the room warm enough. So we started working on felt, and we needed a carding machine. So we designed small carding machine, and then trained people. I took a team of people to Panipat to have a training with the Ministry of Textiles in one of their service centers. And when we came back, we did a number of these, and we held an exhibition in the village demonstrating this, how felt can be made so easily, and can meet the requirements of actually cool homes. And this is how we can generate a lot of resource for maintaining of the power station, even expanding the power station. But then there were two other major problems. One is how does community behave in such programs? Is there some kind of appropriate equity in the program or not? And number two is what happens when there is a severe damage to the power station. Normally canals get damaged during heavy downpour, as you must be reading in the newspapers, and that like Jammu Kashmir, also Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, there have been heavy downpour and so many roads have been washed away, and also irrigation structures have been disturbed. Even some power stations actually been disturbed because so much of silt has been coming in the power station, and they had to literally somewhere they need to shut down from time to time to prevent silt coming into the turbines. And particularly in Himachal Pradesh, I know the type of metal you've been using in the turbines, they get corroded very fast, and sometimes they make a lot of arrangements to prevent flow of silt into the turbines, but even then a lot of corrosion takes place. And then you face another problem is the lean season problem when there's hardly any water, and how will you generate electricity then also becomes a question. And then community reacts in both the cases, that if the power station is in trouble because of deluge, and when the power station is not working because there's not enough water. So this also tells us that in mountain villages, micro hydro or small hydropower may not be a complete answer to providing electricity to the village, and there has to be something more than this. And something more than this means then I have to look for other sources. It could be solar, it could be banking by batteries, or like that. And I have been very fortunate to have worked with work in one program of Ministry of Environment and Forest. This is about coping with uncertainties. Now, when we are talking of unserved villages, where the grid lines are not reaching, there's a difficulty that on demand the power is not available, all the time. And here are some villages which are on the fringe. Their supply get disrupted because of supply of power. It's happening right now in Himachal Pradesh, because a lot of villages not getting supply because of damages that took place because of heavy rain. And also in some villages in Uttarakhand, the peripheral villages like that, and also in J&K and many other parts of India. See, even northeastern states face a similar problem like this. So now we start getting three options now. That we have hydropower is one option. The other option could be solar power, and solar power is being very widely used. It's a grand experience that you have a power station on top of your house, and then you have possibility coming up of banking facilities, that electricity banking is available. That each village probably has a electricity bank. You have a battery storage system, a small village or bigger village where you can take transmission lines out to nearby villages. So this could be another aspect that one has. So now the technology is available. Now let's come to this point: the technology is available, but what the problem is, how do we manage this? Management means awareness level. That is one very important. And number two is how people are able to manage by what are the OEM facilities in some villages like that. I know in hydropower, when you have some equipment which is brought from outside and it requires a repair, you have to make serious efforts actually, even to rush to the suppliers, or seek help from the neighboring small units, small vendors who could be associated with this program. But in some cases the vendors are not completely associated, then you have tough time. The power station remain shut, for a longer duration of time. So and plus, what is the remunerative structure for such kind of programs? Are we getting enough subsidy compensation from the government for these kind of programs? And very surprisingly, I tell you, after having done so much of work, we used to think that the block will come for a support. The block may be having a trained manpower, some kind of energy groups which are available in the block. The government system which should be able to provide, or at the district level they should be provide, but they are unable to do so. So people are left basically on their own to fend for all this kind of support system from outside, mainly rushing out to nearby towns and cities. And well, just imagine when I had done these power stations, if something used to go wrong, we have to either come to Dehradun or come to Delhi, either come to about 230 kilometers or go to about 500 kilometers to fetch the material. Even getting a skilled person, you have to make such a big effort in running this. So what are the shortcomings of this? Such things are, we don't have a trained manpower, we don't have the spares with us, we don't have appropriate linkages actually with the people who can provide us the maintenance support for such system. So this is one aspect of this. And number two is, when we go around, I have actually gone and traveled all across the Himalayan region, right from Meghalaya to the whole northeast to Jammu and Kashmir. What we are finding is there is a serious problem that there are lack of employment opportunities are dismal almost. And I remember while working in Garhwal, at some other areas, the parents literally tell the youngsters, he said, there is no scope for you here. You please try and contact your friends who are in Chandigarh or Delhi or some other place if they can find a job for you. And this is how the people young start slipping out from the mountains and come down to the cities, to earn a livelihood. He is immediately requires needs are food and some place to stay, and hotel sometimes is a very good employment opportunity for them. So this is one aspect where the youths have started migrating. But when I go to some other places, like I was in Himachal, there's some employment in some tiers, there is a lot of tourism in Himachal Pradesh, so the youngsters probably opt for adventure tourism. Some of them will either on boat or balloons or other things like that. And there are large number of people who will buy taxis, somehow get taxis on loan and started flying taxis. And then there is also a large percentage of youngsters who are unable to get all this and probably don't have enough drive. You will be surprised they turn to smack after some time and start stealing things. In fact, in our past station, when I was in Kullu area, we lost a lot of things by these people. They come on with thief. They'll make a entry into the past station by the back door or something, by opening the locks and take away a lot of material. And we had a big struggle actually to retrieve all the material in some cases, and some cases the material lost completely. So this is another group of youngsters which is emerging. And Kullu has a lot of floods, so a lot of youngsters, they rely on picking up a lot of things from the riverbed, where government has literally written off all this material. They'll go and sell to these kabadiwalas and sell the material. That's how they earn. And the kabadiwalas, they hand in gloves with some of them, and this is also led to a lot of thefts. And agriculture is another field where the youngsters, they're not fully engrossed in agriculture work. Numbers mainly because it's a very painstaking, it's a laborious job, and youngsters don't like actually working on this. And this is where what we can do is energy what we generate could be used for actually agriculture processing or an agriculture work that could also give some comfort to the youngsters who would be willing to undertake agriculture work. And then we have another set of people now growing who are interested in making reels. You will be shocked to know how many people are employed in making small clips and reels, which come on YouTube and all that, also on the Facebook. And this is how they have also picked up some method of earning money. So when we see all this, it requires a very big effort actually to combine energy with all this. Energy is not the complete answer to these peripheral villages or some of these what we've been calling is unserved villages. It has to be a combination of all this, and it has to be a combined effort. Somewhere it is energy programs, so another department is not interested. Like we sometimes unfortunately used to have with MNRE, they were not interested in livelihood programs. They see energy is our game. not beyond that. So it is all together. It just can't be separated out. Similarly, you have a lot of small nursing stations or dispensaries or small health centers which are running. They don't have electricity there. They run out of a lot of vaccine and so many other problems. So what one feels that we need to redefine electrification. Electrification is just not lighting a house. Electrification means not just creating a small facility. Electrification means actually having a complete facility in the village, which leads to development of the village, and also making a village completely, confident against all these problems that we have. That you know. What happens when all the supply cease to a village, and how a village is going to survive. So it has to have its own permanent solution for electrifying and also running a lot of livelihood programs. This is what I feel will lead to some very positive and strong answers. And the other main thing we have left out is actually the cooking needs, actually the amount of energy that goes in cooking. I often see in Kullu district and in the Byas river so much of wood that comes from so much uprooted trees, and wood comes flowing in the Byas river, and then people are engaged in just catching all the moving woods, and they stack it along the river so that they can take it home, and that may provide energy for the whole year round. And villager is normally not very happy even with wood. He doesn't know whether it's going to last the whole year or not. So he'll survive. He tries all kind of alternatives. He has a stove with him. He has a cook stove which they call tandoor, which also heats the house. They have that. They have gas, and they have induction heaters. All three things are present, and sometimes if all these are not available, then he has diesel run cook stoves also. So this is also a very big requirement of the village as far as cooking needs are concerned. So one has to actually look at this program very holistically regarding serving these unserved villages. And I believe there are a number of villages which are very close to these so-called unserved villages, which are just on fringe. They keep on getting into the same position as unserved villages. And there are very large number of peoples, right from Meghalaya to Tripura, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, and Uttarakhand, and all the way to Jammu and Kashmir. Including some remote villages very close to the Pakistan borders in Jammu and Kashmir also have very severe problem where the electricity supply is not very consistent, and they run into severe problems actually. And one has to look at the denudation of forest in that area for cooking purposes. So I like to conclude here for this small assessment that we need to look at the whole program holistically, and we need to redefine electrification, and the people and the villages which are unserved, so-called unserved, and there are a lot of villages which are on the fringe. Actually, they run a huge problem. And it's not that the opportunity don't exist for livelihood program. They definitely exist. In Himachal Pradesh, you have so much of apple, say 30% of apple which just falls. Immediately fallen apple can be, can be processed and can be sold in the market. I was traveling in Uttarkashi, the whole tomato crop was up, and people refusing to harvest tomato. The reason is, he says, when we harvest it and transport it to Dehradun, the cost is so high that we can't afford it. So let it perish. So what is the solution in some cases? Maybe they can process tomato right in the field itself. And we recently had done a small project with IIT Roorkee, setting up a small cold storage of 5 kilowatt that would serve extremely well. And this was a small cold storage. They could have a small chain like that from place to place. It was just almost based on a watermill, and there's still a lot of watermills are there. So we turn to small cold storages like that. So this is. I like to conclude here with so much of ideas that is rushing in my mind on how do we redefine our electrification and what can we do in times to come, and then how we can actually muster support of the government departments in it. Government has a big machinery actually, and why can't for instance, people sitting in the block or the district level, they can't come together to support this program and help especially in OEM, and also selecting sites, and also helping in acquiring equipment and training people, for instance, and also helping them running their community structure properly. So I have a small hope in my Kullu area where I have been working recently, that we have actually good water mills running with a very high capacity. They grind grains and they've started packaging and packaging. They fortunately got FSI license also with them. And now I'm hoping that I can coordinate with the district agencies so that it can be brought into some umbrella, so that they can actually train people on the community building and sustainability aspect. Thank you. I am open to question now. Anybody interested in asking questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Pranam, and it was indeed a treat to listen you after a long time in such a good fashion. I would have loved to see some of the slides, because I know that these are always have been very, very fascinating, looking at the Himalayan background. Some Buddhists are working in Ladakh, and some small Pahari man is working with the water mill or a small hydro project. These are amazing. So please keep a small collection of these slides for the group, so that they can just have a visuals and enjoy the visuals also. That is one thing.
I'll post it.
Yeah, and now two things more which I would like to add here for the consultation of the group that way. The Sustainable Development Goal number 7 talked of the energy services.
Yes.
And the respected Banerjee sir has just raised the issue that electricity is not something in totality which can be seen. It is not an energy service. It is one of the component of the energy services.
Yes.
One of the biggest predicament of the harnessing water energy in the hills was the availability of load. If it is only for lighting purpose, then lighting is required only for evening hours or something, unless it is diversified for other applications also at their own. Whether mechanically or through electricity, and thereafter again converting to the various use, as you mentioned, the livelihood applications. Here comes, because some of the experiments which you did in the Uttarakhand, I remember one of the project at Argunda in Tehri Garhwal, if I am correct, that people started cooking also from the hydropower generated from the village itself, and it changed complete way of the way they cook, the way they do all these things. But now the another possibility is also coming, and perhaps I must have told earlier also about this, that what possibilities arises. Storage technologies have become quite affordable in many ways in many of the places. Suppose this some development of some tools and instruments whereby the electricity generated is stored and used for the small water agro harvesting purposes in the Himalayan region. It is very, very cumbersome and very labor intensive. And a small cart or cutting the grass or something, small gadgets can be developed. But you feel the possibility of taking a full program on these things, whereby the agriculture equipments which are having some storage device also, whereby they generate electricity locally, store it in them, and thereafter used in their fields, can be taken up. Just I thought that I should just raise this point.
Oh, sir, you very rightly pointed out. I'm thankful to you for actually almost used to discuss it long ago, I remember, and you highlighted that. I've seen some differences between states. For instance, I worked in Sikkim. They were actually working on very, very simple tools, and even cutting wood they were using very normal standard traditional tools. Whereas I came to Kullu area in some projects of the Ministry of Environment and Forest, I saw that people are using brush cutters. They have chainsaw saws. Nobody is using traditional tools. They've all shifted to all energy these kind of tools only. And this is something very interesting that they're using petrol driven engines right now. But if we have batteries, for example, lithium cell batteries, and make a small packet which can be charged at the power station, and they can use it and either at power station or at home, then use it in the field. This is a fantastic idea. You save so much of money on fuel, and also save your place from pollution. It's an excellent idea, and it can work very well. In fact, one should actually look into it. And another big problem is actually transportation. Transportation, if we have stronger e-rickshaws actually running in the mountains, it'll be great thing. Actually, even in the village, coming from your field to your home, you have to, women carry so much of load on their shoulders. And if we have this kind of units, small units, can be easily taken to homes. You see, in China, for instance, we used to see some old photographs. They used to have carts. Now they all changed carts to this, EVs actually. So how your efficiency improves in agriculture by using these kind of things, and you can also employ a lot of youth. Will get definitely attracted and employed in this kind of work. It is not laborious. It is not time consuming. It's very fast. And it has its own charm of using machinery in agriculture, also in transportation. So this is how we've been I've been highlighting that we have to think holistically. Is the electricity for lighting used to be a dream almost 50 years ago, when were just 10% of the villages were electrified. And people used to feel dignified. They have electricity in the house. With the press a button, the house is lighted. But now things have changed. So what if electricity or light is there in the house? What do you do next after this? How do you eradicate poverty in the village? By using electricity or other means. Not specifically coming from water mill or something like that. You have a battery banking. So it has advanced. Things have advanced so much that you have so many things one can do, and one needs to actually scout around and do some pioneering work. At least create a standard in some village, which is sufficient in energy, and it is independent of an home grid. And one has risen to a very high level with these kind of resources and with these kind of technologies. When one is actually hoping for that, then we should come out in another few, just 1 or 2 years, some village which has harnessed all these resources on its own or with some support, and is able to bring a lot of changes in the village, the development changes in the village, whether it is related to energy or it is conversion of your waste, or using all kind of resources, and making to some pioneering village with these efforts.
Yogeshwarji, I would like to know, with this a lot of work is going on in some parts of India for the tidal waves, the sea waves, whether your technology will have some relationship with these sea tides and producing energy out of it. Is there any distinct possibility?
Not my technology, but sea tides actually use some different kind of turbines, slightly different kind of turbines, plus so, and the seas are far away from the mountains, so you have to redefine, you have to restructure your turbines and method. Sometimes it's a pedal method. When the tide comes, the pedal goes down, the pedal comes up, like that. Then this is how it generates electricity. You must have seen also some roads in Japan where people walk on the road and it generates electricity. So great ideas actually all over the world, and one can do wonders with this. And one keeps on thinking, why can't we do these wonders ourselves? In some village at least, some unserved village, or some village in the periphery of grid, or some village at the last point of the grid. Why can't we do that?
Thank you, Yogeshwar.
Namaste, Yogeshwar ji.
Namaskar ji.
It struck me that the greatest problem, as you rightly said, is to channelize the youth power, and how these youth are going astray by drugs and some things. If that big if is there, if we are able to even collect a few youth and then train them, and maybe in your line, I mean people like you who are experts in your line, they may be able to inspire, because the problem is, when we oldies, we talk to them, they think that we are advising them, and that kind of thing. So when a youth sets an example through your practices that you have shown, I think it will be wonderful. The second thing I appreciated was that a person who can see not only the problems but the solutions there are. I think you are an example, a very good example. You see a problem and then you also think of the solution. Probably we'll be very enriched if you are able to attend our Sunday meeting, so that probably we can have more fruitful discussions with you. So thank you.
Raghunanan ji, I agree with you. In fact, there is a small group in Delhi with whom I am associated called Manzil Welfare Society, which actually helps training the youths in different kind of programs. Whatever you want to you good at music, you want to good at photography, you want to good at experimenting some creativity, and it has a very large number of following in Delhi. It's becoming a very big group now. So and plus the source of employment for these boys, and how to approach the big offices where they can find employment, and what skills they can deliver. So skills, actually imparting skills, is very important. And some of the traditional skills children sometimes are not interested. So you have to show them, the case has to be very big for them to pick and choose what they want to do. And this is one way of channelizing energy. Keep them absorbed in some program or the other. So then it's only then they'll get away from smacks or making unnecessary reels and this and that, looking for some unproductive employment, actually.
Thank you so much. That is, not only you are interested in sort of finding new ways of generating electricity as such, or power, you are also trying to channelize the youth power. That's wonderful. So again, an invitation for you to join our group. Thank you so much.
I have joined. Take it. Join. Tell me what is the procedure to join.
Yeah, that's it.
I have one request. Since my friend Dr. Yogesh Velankar has joined our group for the first time, should we ask him to introduce himself to the group?
Sure.
Yes, very good morning to all esteemed participants here, and wonderful to hear Yogeshwarji's life experiences and wonderful work that has been done over the years. So I'm Dr. Yogesh Velankar. I was very fortunate to listen and join the group starting today. And just a brief about myself, I've had an interdisciplinary background both in engineering and education. Presently, I am also a chair professor at IIT Bhilai Innovation and Technology Foundation, and had a chance to work across disciplinary areas, across age groups, and really work with different stakeholders to improve quality education at all levels. I have had exposure even in the industry, and always my focus has been on capacity building, organizational development, and institutional transformations. So with that, I also recently had great experience working on sustainable development related grassroots level challenges, also working in rural villages pan India, and similar to what we heard earlier today, really looking at the various interrelationships of the challenges and approaching the solution space from a holistic perspective. I think that really makes a lot of difference. But perhaps more of my experiences some other time. That's in brief about myself. Thank you.
Oh, sir, it will be a privilege at least for me also, because I am also newcomer, and listening to you, I can my mind has started racing that what could be the possibilities.
Of course, yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you and have a great day.